Hey, welcome back. I don't know where you live in the country, but I don't care where you live. You're paying too much for insurance. The cost of insurance is kind of this secret agent that sneaks up on us that we often don't build into the cost of government and our personal lives. It's kind of this necessary evil. You got to pay these high insurance rates. And boy, if you live in the deep South where I live, rates are going through the roof. In my home state of Louisiana, property insurance, the highest in America. Auto insurance, the highest in America. Healthcare costs, some of the highest in America. And there's some tips to where you can make it cheaper for you if government does its share. If you're on if you're on Louisiana Street, they're cutting down the number of uninsured drivers. Now, unfortunately, Louisiana Street is over in Texas. What a number of Texas law enforcement agents have got together and doing is saying, look, with the illegal immigration problem and with a number of people that decide they're just not going to buy insurance, we're going to crack down on those uninsured drivers. And here's the problem with uninsured drivers. It affects every one of us because if somebody else doesn't have insurance and you get in an accident and they're at fault, even though you're not at fault, you often have to turn to your own insurance company to pay for the damage because the other driver who's at fault didn't have insurance. That's why you've got to have this factor in your insurance called uninsured motorist coverage. Uninsured motorist coverage can be, the cost could be as much as 40% of your insurance policy. $300, $400, $500 a year to cover you against an uninsured motorist. So you want to save $500 a year? Get rid of uninsured motorists. Several ways to skin that cat and do it. One way to do is what they're doing over in Texas, crack down on uninsured drivers. If they don't have insurance, you seize their car. That's what they do in Texas. You take their car to the pound and say, when you comply with the law, then at that point in time, you can get your car back. Some other ways that are very controversial, by the way, I've suggested this before, the pay at the pump plan. What it means is if your state has basic insurance requirement, let's assume you've got to have $20,000 as the basic insurance coverage. Well, what you do is put a few more cents onto your gasoline tax that is paid for at the pump. Everybody in the state gets the first $20,000 for free. It doesn't cost them anything. Well, it does cost them because they're paying at the pump. But everybody gets taken. If you live in Louisiana, we do that in Louisiana, for example, truck drivers coming from out of state would pay at the pump. They would subsidize Louisiana. Insureds is what they would do. So I think it makes good sense. And then if you wanted more than that, if you had a more expensive car, you had more to lose, you could go to your insurance agent and buy $50,000, $100,000, whatever coverage you wanted. So there's some interesting ways to skin that cat that can save you and I money. If you drove less than 40,000 miles a year, you paid at the pump, you'd save significantly. You'd pay a lot, probably 30% less than you're paying now, because every single person would pay at the pump. Nobody would be uninsured. You wouldn't pay that $300 or $400 a year more for the uninsured motorist coverage. You see some tremendous drops, but not much interest in my home state of legislators doing that. I see they're looking at that in a number of other states across the country. That's one way to cut down the costs. If you live in Louisiana, tough dealing with insurance because the cost across the board is going through the roof. And I've got some other solutions we'll talk when I come back right after this message.